All right, college baseball season is here. The first 3 games are in the bag, and, well, a little bit of interesting first week. That and more coming up in this episode of The Fourth Strike Show. All right, welcome to the Fourth Strike Show, episode 3. I'm your host, John Barons.
I'm Joshua Perkins.
Okay, so we had our first 3 games of the collegiate baseball.
Quite the weekend. LSU had a couple close calls.
Yeah, what I did notice is that a lot of the teams in the top 10 had like a round robin series this weekend where they had like 4 teams and everybody played everybody once. So,
I mean, it's a good way to kind of like, just kind of add variety to the schedule and just basically give each team getting a look at each other.
So as the top 10 or the top 25 went, number 1 Vanderbilt went 2-1. I looked at what they did over the weekend, and they had this pretty sound wins over Virginia and Cal State Fulton before getting hammered by TCU 10-2. Number 2 LSU, they went 3-0, but they opened up. Their toughest team they faced this weekend was
West Point.
West Point?
Yeah, I mean they beat Army off a 3-run walk-off home run, and they were down 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth.
I know, but
ULM, it started off tough, but once the bats really started to get going, I mean, it took a grand slam from Antoine Duplantis to have LSU break away from ULM.
That game still was decided in the 9th inning. The only game LSU really took it to them was Air Force 17-5.
But I mean, LSU, it's early in the season. They still got to knock some cobwebs off.
Yeah. Number 3, Texas Tech went 2-1. Number 4, UCLA 3-0. Florida 3-0. North Carolina 3-0. Oregon State 3-0 for the weekend. Louisville
1-2.
1-2. Georgia 3-0.
Georgia.
Ole Miss went 1-1. I guess there must have been a cancellation due to the weather there. I'm not sure what happened. Number 11, Eastern Carolina 3-0 for the weekend. Stanford 3-0. Florida State 4-0. They play 4 games this weekend. That's interesting. Oh, so did number 15 Baylor. 14, Mississippi State 3-0. 16, Arkansas 3-0. Michigan 3-0. TCU 2-1. Oklahoma State 2-1. Wake Forest 2-1. Coastal Carolina 3-0.
That's your team.
Yeah, well, my favorite out-of-state team. Auburn 2-1, Texas 2-1, Clemson 2-1, and Cal State Fulton 2-1 for the weekend. So, not a bad start to any of the teams in the top 25, except for Louisville. Texas actually had a close call. They opened up the season against ULF yet. The first game ended 3-1, 10 innings in that one. So, Raging Cajuns took the Longhorns the distance there. Game 2, it actually required a collapse by UOL, giving up, I want to say, like 5 runs in 1 inning or something like that.
Yeah.
Late in the game. So, and then, of course, the Cajuns beat the Longhorns to close out the series. So, a bit of a close call for Texas right there.
I mean, ULF, yet they've always had, a gritty baseball team. And like I said, if you think ULL's baseball team is pretty decent, you take a look at their softball team. They are beasts, and they are always in the NCAA tournament. But this is a baseball show, so back to baseball.
I'm a bit surprised about Louisville. That was just, okay. So I was busy this week and I didn't really get to look into who lost to who too much. So let's pull it up. I'm now officially curious to see who Louisville lost 2 games to. Okay, so they beat UConn 12-2, but they lost twice to them by
3-2 to UConn in the second game.
Then the series final was 8-3. That's
pretty bad.
Wow. And UConn, I don't recall UConn being that big of a baseball team.
They're not.
No, but the I could definitely say the eyebrow raiser to me anyway of the weekend was Missouri. Even though Missouri's not ranked, they're still an SEC team, but they lost 2 out of 3 to North Florida.
Like why?
Not just why, but who?
I have an eyebrow raiser for y'all. My alma mater, Northwestern State, knocking off the Houston Cougars 2-1 in 11 innings.
Yeah.
That's my eyebrow raiser of the weekend.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of early season, but still, early season is supposed to be the easier matchups for most teams.
I mean, yeah, it's for like the top teams. Early season is supposed to help them, be able to run their game plan, knock the cobwebs off, and to establish that their dominance, establish their confidence.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, the top 25 seems to come out of the bat for the most part outside of Louisville, which, I mean, UConn, really? The fact that they stayed in the top 10, did they stay in the top 10?
I believe they did. They did.
They stayed at number 8.
I mean, well, they were previously number 4, and they dropped down to number 8.
Yeah, they went from 4 to 8 after 2 losses to UConn. That's just kind of like, wow, okay.
I mean, Louisville got some work to do. I mean, it's still, like I said, it's still early in the season, and teams are still trying to find their identity. You have teams that still trying to build confidence, and you have teams that's still trying to, like I said, knock some cobwebs off of their game plans. It's the early season jitters. These players got butterflies in their stomach. So
yeah, so it's not a surprise that there wasn't much of a shakeup in the top 25 because it looks like everybody, for the most part, came out and took care of business. You lose 1 of 3, okay. That's teams do have bad off days.
True.
So I don't know. We'll see.
It's an interesting topic, though.
What?
If you get a glass of milk and a ghost pepper chip.
Oh, hard. We're doing the ghost pepper chip challenge today for some reason. I don't know why. My idea.
His idea. So if something happens to me, I'm blaming him. So you see something on the 9 o'clock news, just know it was all his fault.
Yeah. So, this early in the season, what do you think? Who are you looking for?
Well, other than LSU, I'm looking at teams like Vanderbilt, if they can maintain their dominance at the number 1 position. I'm also going to be looking at Oregon State. As you know, Pat Casey is no longer the head coach there, but they are off to a pretty good start, 3-0 in the post-Casey era. And I'm also going to be taking a look at Florida State. As you know, they've never, they haven't won a national championship. And it's like they can never get over that hump. So I'm going to look at Florida State and see how they play this year. So those are the teams I'm looking at.
Now, one of the things that I'm a little bit impressed with is the resurgence of Georgia, because for a few years there, after their runner-up in 2008 to Fresno State, till recently, they had a drop to where they were not one of the best teams, but they're sitting at number 9 right now and have a 3-0 start to the season.
I mean, when you look at the preseason rankings, it's a testimony to, they look at who you got coming back to the team. You look at, their production, their progression, and you also look at the recruiting. Recruiting plays a big role as far as the rankings. So, I mean, I think it's a test to Georgia actually truly having a rebuild and truly, going in the right direction. And, they've made it clear they want to go up from here.
Right. And what about Texas? Because Texas also had a bit of a drop off, which ended up leading to them Did Augie get fired, or did he retire?
I think he retired. I mean, he was pretty old.
Retired under pressure.
You could say that, kind of like what Mac Brown did at Texas when he was coaching football. Mm-hmm. Mac Brown retired under pressure. Now he's about to coach North Carolina. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I digress.
In looking at the top 25, it looks like we have a lot of Carolina teams in there.
Coastal Carolina, you got East Carolina.
Yeah, well, Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Let's see, is South Carolina in there?
No, they're not.
No. Oh, well, okay. Wow, that's a surprise.
Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, North Carolina. Got all the Carolinas up in there.
Yeah, I can only suspect it's only going to be a matter of time before South Carolina does rank.
Oh, it's going to be a matter of time. I mean, you just got to give some time.
So at some point we'll have what, 4 Carolina teams in there?
That's crazy.
So, okay. So we got some out of that.
What I like is the fact that the SEC has 5 teams in the top 10: Vanderbilt, LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Florida.
Yeah, well, SEC has always been pretty big in baseball. A lot more top 10 heavy in baseball than they are in anything else, like football or basketball. I mean, you're always going to have a lot of SEC teams in the top 25, but it's not a big surprise to see 5 SEC teams in the top 10 in baseball, because they got a lot of good coaches in the SEC, and they recruit like nobody else's business.
Oh, they do, definitely. It's just going to show the dominance of the SEC.
Coach O'Sullivan at Florida, who's guided his Gators to Omaha 5 times now in like 6 seasons.
Impressive.
Something like that. I know they've been the runner-up a few times, and they won it in 2017. So,
and they actually won it a couple of years ago, beating LSU.
And one of the things that's very impressive with O'Sullivan is the fact that he's able to get recruits to pass up on pro baseball, like first-round draft picks to pass up on pro contracts.
But, I mean, that's the type of culture he has. I mean, he believes in potential. He wants you to be able to reach your full peak before you even go to the league. I mean, because there's no doubt that a lot of first round prospects, there's no doubt not a lot of them have not reached their peak before going into the draft. But he wants you to be able to reach your peak potential before you can go.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a wait, it's a long haul, it's a grind, but it'll be worth it at the end, especially under the leadership of Coach O'Sullivan.
Yeah. Okay, so like I said, first weekend of the season, not a whole lot to talk about. Kind of the same way that college basketball got off. You're always going to have like that slow start to the season with things here and there. Again, Missouri losing 2 out of 3 to North Florida, which is like a head shaker.
Well,
but
I mean, I'm not expecting much out of Missouri anyway, so.
Still, you're an SEC team. You're losing 2 out of 3 to who?
Exactly, who? But, I mean, action is going to pick up, as the season goes forward. I mean, so it's still early.
I mean, LSU and Texas have a 3-game series, not next week, but I think the week after next.
So I mean, there's definitely going to be a big weekend.
It's not going to take long for collegiate baseball to get started.
It's going to get exciting.
All right. Well, even though it's short, that is our 3rd episode of the 4th Strike Show. Looking forward to the season, as always. I'm John Barons.
I'm Joshua Perkins.
Thank you for tuning in. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and our website, AISportsNetwork.com. This is AI Sports Production, signing out.